Hello there, welcome back. This one's the final video of the week. I'm talking about Terminator Series. Oh, there's only two good ones. Because I did Die Hard recently, I've done Predator I think in August or something. I'm trying to do these once in a while, like movie series videos. You know, I think we did them all the time, it'd be a bit boring, but I think if it's a series you like, or you have affection for it, you can speak about them a little bit and have some fun with them. The Terminator trilogy was a trilogy. It was originally a trilogy, but only two made by one director, then a third one. But for years there was only three of them. Same with Die Hard, there's now 5 Die Hard films, but for years there was only 3, and then recently they've made some more ones, and it's like, you still think it's the 3 than the others. And in this one there's a new film coming out this year, so we'll see how that works out. Don't hold your breath for quality. But yeah, basically Terminator movies, the good ones are James Cameron ones. And then there's a TV show which is quite good for me called The Sarah Connor Chronicles, which is flawed but there's lots of good episodes in it, and it has some very good moments that feel like the people making it love the films. They were expanding upon the film's ideas. So even for the stuff they get wrong, they did so much right in that series. And the guy who was showing up that series is actually helping them develop this new Terminator film. So that's promising. They actually saw that he did a good job in that series and actually helping them move forward with the actual movie series. So Terminator started with obviously the Terminator. You know, the first one's the best one for me. I think it's weird, what one do you like better? I think if you grew up with Terminator, then you saw Terminator 2 well after, like you saw Terminator 2 on release, Terminator's probably your favourite. There's a good chance it's your favourite one. I think if people grew up after Terminator 2 was released, they probably saw Terminator 2 first, because Terminator 2 was a lower rating and Terminator was more grown up film. So they probably like Terminator 2 more because it's bigger and more explosion-y, but still good moments in it. But the argument's only ever is a Terminator 2. That's the only argument there ever really is. There's no... And the people who say Terminator 2 is the best one are wrong. They're just wrong, you know, and ugly. But the Terminator's first one's great. It's a great love story. Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor. They have to survive the Terminator and they fall in love. And he gets her pregnant and she's going to give birth to John Connor. John Connor sends him back to save her, knowing he's his father. So it's a lovely love story, a lovely time travel element. It works beautifully. It's hard to talk about now because everyone's seen it, everyone knows it. But it is really well done. I mean, it's like wonderfully done. The characters are very emotional by actually not being overly... The characters are warm, but they're never over emotional. They're fighting their emotions all the time, but they're in difficult situations, and they're overcoming situations all the time, but in a very human way. So you want them together, you want them to, because obviously they have affection for each other, so it actually works really well. So it's not too cold, it's not too sentimental, it's just right in the balance in the middle. And by the time they come together, they've built up the bond so well that you can feel, yeah, that works, there is a chemistry there. So that works really well. Another thing that works, obviously, Schwarzenegger as a Terminator, just killing everybody, just been brutal. He treats everyone as if it's something he can swat away. He's not that bothered. He butchers a whole police station, doesn't bother him, he's just a machine. He's just a cold machine who's going to kill this person. And he's really scary. It's a wonderful part for him, and it's just obviously so iconic now. I think because Terminator set everything up so well, it's easy to underrate it. It's easy to forget that there wasn't anything like this before. There was a couple of, you see La Jetty, but it really wasn't anything like this. And some people say this Harlan Ellison story where they got them sued. But no one's ever seen that. And you know, and if no one cares about that, it's just Terminator. Terminator's that story done perfectly. Everyone just reverts back to Terminator. It's the perfect version of that story. Terminator 2 is like the extension of that, but it's really relying on the emotions of Terminator 1. You know, it feels like it's as an extension. It's not its own thing. It's very reliant on Terminator, and it's still a wonderful film because you really expand the world. You Schwarzenegger back, but he's been reprogrammed to protect John Connor. You have a John Connor in it now, the boy who grew up to be the great leader. You have all of that set up beautifully. We Sarah Connor back, but now she's mad. Everything's done just so well. But the only thing I can say against it does feel like a remake a lot of times because it's redoing a lot of the stuff that's done in the first one, or it's tweaking it and it's subverting it. It doesn't really expand beyond Terminator that much. That's why it feels an extension of Terminator rather than a whole unique new sequel. The way Aliens felt very unique to Alien, this one doesn't feel as unique to Terminator. It feels like it doesn't feel like an extension of it. Like there's no grand reinvention. It's still two people fighting to see around these humans and blowing lots of stuff up. This time it's a liquid metal Terminator who's trying to kill them. Schwarzenegger's the obsolete one trying to save them. And you get a nice bond between him and the boy to a bit furlong. And the John Connor character here is great because he's a little kid. He's a smart kid, but he's still a kid. You know, that's just what he is. And they don't have him using guns or anything. He's the kid and he's protecting, but he's smart, he's useful, he's good with technology, he can do lots of stuff. So it works really well. His bond with the robot really makes the film. And Sarah Connor going off and seeing her go mad about the idea of the world's going to end, and she's got the responsibility of keeping the human race alive beyond that, and having her son be this leader that will bring them back. You see what that does to her brain. It just destroys her as a person. And again, that's wonderful because they don't really hold back from that. It's like, this will destroy you. And that's what's great, but it's very, again, like the first one, it's very human. They have to keep on dealing with these human emotions and these situations. I mean, because Schwarzenegger's a Terminator, he doesn't deal with it, but you see these other two having to deal with it all the time. So there's still something that needs to be protected. So again, it works really well. But to me, it's a bit cold on the first one because it's a bit bigger. I don't feel it's quite as direct, really. I think its budget is too big for its own good at times. I think it's a bit long. So I mean, I think it could have been trimmed. It's sort of the Dark Knight the same way, where you feel that the bloat of the film goes against a really good film. You know, it's good, but it could have been even better if we just cut it down a little bit. So, but it's still a terrific film. I've seen it, God knows how many times. But I've seen the first one more because the first one is stronger. So that's two good Terminator films. You know, it's hard to talk about them because they're so good and they're so wonderfully done. And they're directed, again, with a passion for the material. They wanted to make this film, they wanted to make it good. In both those films, you feel them really pushing it out and making sure everything's as good as it possibly can be. Like, they worked in the scripts to make everything unique. They worked in the chases to make it interesting to watch and not have anything last too long, so you're not seeing the same stuff again and again and again. So everything's paced. And the Terminator 2, the fight when the kids getting chased through the abattoir and on the bike, that's wonderful. It's just a terrific set piece. You know, and on the big bit with they're in the building and the entire SWAT teams that have them. Okay, that's a wonderful thing because they have to not kill the SWAT team because they're humans and they don't know what's actually going on. Again, these are wonderful ideas that make it more interesting as a challenge for the characters, because the people who are against them a lot of time aren't villains, they're just doing their jobs. So they can't just kill them or anything, they have to actually find a way around the problem. That's what was lost in the sequels after that. That was just lost completely. So we go to Terminator 3. For me, the worst one. This was the worst one for me. The other two, because I think at this point, after this, you didn't have any expectations of the series. It was like, this is over. This is done. All because of the third one. And the problem with the third one, essentially, is the people making it's just making a product. So it's just a product. It's nothing passionate about it. I mean, the actors try their best, but there's nothing there they can really work with. There's whole sequences in there because they had a similar sequence in the last film, so they need something. But it's just a remake of the second one. It's literally just, it's sort of like Die Hard 1 to 2, where Die Hard 2 was as close to the original as they could possibly make it without making a direct remake. This one's the same. In the same sequence, in the second one you got the going through the abattoir. This one you get them going through LA, through the streets. Instead of having the tension of in this cramped situation, they're in this little truck and all the other trucks are going around them and trashing most of the city and destroying as much as humanly possible. And there's no tension there, it's just fight scenes, it's not as fun. It's just an action scene, but there's nothing character-wise that you really care about. Then later on, instead of the big building which they're in this military building, and it's pretty much the same sequence but done badly, where they're having to get out of this building and avoid getting killed. But this time it's against killer robots rather than people who are, you know, innocent. So they can blow anything up they want and there's no consequences. They're just robot fighting and stuff, and it feels very cold, and there's never any consequences to any action. It just feels like here's some shit through at the screen, just blow stuff up, that's it. In the final bit, instead of having them at a factory, they have them as a bunker. Instead of having an extended sequence through the bunker, they have it's like 10 minutes, a couple of things blow up and that's it, over. And Schwarzenegger's back, playing another Terminator, has been reprogrammed. You can get programmed back and forth between villain and hero, but that's barely ever used. It's set up as a potential, and eventually they deal with it a little bit, it happens, but then he reprograms himself, but it's never enough of a threat. I mean, he's sorted within 2 minutes, so it's never an actual threat. It's just, that's a twist, but we can't be bothered thinking about how to deal with it. And the whole movie's like that. It's just like, there's all this dead action where you're thinking, can I see something interesting, please? Something, anything interesting to happen. Because every action scene is just the same monotonous thing of, let's go blow stuff up. What's the characters got to do with this thing? And nothing. They're getting chased. But what they actually do as characters that makes them evolve, that makes it interesting for story-wise, nothing. They're barely characters. So what's happening in this movie? Nothing. They're getting from A to B. A is basically their people in a modern life, and B is the apocalypse come and they have to survive there. And not much happens in between. That's the problem. The fifth film, there's no... all the development scenes feel dead. Even talking about it, I get bored. You may have seen this glazed eye feel to me as I started talking about it. It's like, what did I see with this film? This is boring. Next style, the new John Connor. Every film was replaced due to personal issues, I think. No one knows the whole story. I don't know the whole story. No one knows why he was finally replaced. They replaced him with a good actor, but the character's not written properly, so the actor can't do much. You know, so it was a good actor to play by another good actor, but nothing was given to him, so, you know. And then there's an embarrassing bit where they say, oh, I remember you when you were a kid, to Nick Stahl, even though we've all seen John Connor was Edward Furlong in the old movie. That doesn't count, even though we've seen, it's an iconic character from a very famous movie which you've seen in the series, and who looks nothing like the new John Connor. They say they remember him from childhood. That is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in a movie when they recast a lead. That is the dumbest thing ever. And Nick Stahl does his best. There's a scene in the back where he's talking to Claire Danes saying this has to do something impossible and it's been weighing down on him. He does it really well. And he's trying every scene. The guy's trying his ass off to try and make this work. But the character has no growth. The character starts off depressed and ends up kind of depressed. And there's no sign of someone who grew up, who's going to develop from this last film, who already knew a lot of stuff. He seems to have lost the knowledge of knowing all this stuff. He asks questions that the character in the other movie would never ask because they didn't know it. and he waits for a long time before he asks very simple questions like, when's Doomsday? That takes half the movie before he asked it. And it's like, the furlong versus character would have asked that like 2 minutes in. So it's very frustrating because this guy's just so self-involved and the actor's trying his best to make it work and he can never get it to work because he's given bugger all to do. And Claire Danes in it as a love interest and she's given even less to do. She's trying as well and there's nothing for her to do. It's just like, your characters need to just run a lot and these robots will chase after you. We don't have any real depth to you. We're going to imply depth is going to come in the next movie. You know, that's it. It's like, it's one of the most boring scripts. It's like a script that made by someone who didn't understand the first two movies. The basic appeal of the first two movies was, it's a cyberpunk movie, but the characters growing throughout the movie from one stage to the next in their lives and being challenged by a very scary situation. And in Terminator 2, Sarah Connor is destroyed by it because she's gone mad and she has to bring herself back to humanity. In this one, John Connor, even though he might be smart, doesn't seem that perturbed by... He's not destroyed by the idea of nuclear holocaust, he's just perturbed by it. And it doesn't ring true. He's not paranoid enough and he's not proactive enough for the character was established. It just doesn't feel like the character, it just feels like this thing they've just said that's a character. That's the problem with the series after this. There's no the main character's maybe John Connor, but there's no consistent character. They change the actor every time, they change the character every time, and you never get a feeling of a character. You just feel this, and that creates all these action scenes that you don't have any emotional attachment to. And it all started this one. This one just killed the series. So, shame on you, Terminator 3. You destroyed it. Even the best bit of the film is the end when he realises he has to live up to his potential. The world has ended. He is John Connor, the legend. That's a really good moment. It's all about the actor trying his arse to make it work. Just worked his arse off to make this thing work. And he kind of does, but there's been nothing before that leads to that. It's just an actor doing his best he can in a bad movie. It's like the director hasn't earned it. The scriptwriters definitely haven't earned it. Schwarzenegger looks like he's just keep cashing the check. There's no emotion in him either. He's just like, he's not that interested, it seems. And the whole movie's kind of like that. It's just like, nobody cares. It's like, the series is dead. And then, after the disappointment of that came out like 2000 and... Was it 2003? 2003 it came out. But 10 years after Terminator 2, 10 years to do a half-arse rip-off. It took me another 5 years to do the next half-arse rip-off, which is Terminator Salvation. They get rid of the parts 3, 4, whatever, they're just Salvation. That's not even the worst title again. So this is, the only thing to say about Terminator Salvation, right, is it's better than the Crow Salvation. That's it. And it's better than Terminator 3, if only by default. But this one is one of the bad sequels, the one I like most. It's not a good film, but it's a Mad Max ripoff. And that's good enough for me. So Christian Bale plays John Connor this time, with a gruff Batman voice. Rah, 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 rah. Again, he's given nothing to do. He's having even less to do than Nick Star Wars, and that's bad for him, because he's trying. It's like, nobody playing this part ever comes in not trying. It's really bizarre. It's just that they all come in trying their asses off and they get nothing to work with because the writers are just in awe of the first two movies and don't understand the idea of progressing a character. Which is good about the TV show. The TV show was progressing the character all the time. Was showing his weaknesses and his failings, then he'd have to move forward a bit. And he's frustrating the way a person's frustrating. And this one is just as blank. And Christian Bale's really trying. He's trying to play this guy who's a bit mad now, like the way Sarah Connor was in the second one. But he's not given enough to do. And this contradicts what we've told about the future. It's meant to be human beings were almost failing this when John Connor arrived. That's the whole thing about the first movie. That's everything explained. And this one, he's just this minor soldier within the Resistance. The Resistance are still operating in these like bases that have like planes and like they're air bases. It's like the machine would have destroyed this like first thing. There's no way this would actually operate in an apocalypse. There's just no way. So that doesn't make any sense. And the underground things, and the whole future doesn't look grimy enough. It just doesn't. It's meant to be a nuclear wasteland, and I'm trying to suggest it's not quite as bad as it's going to get in the next ones as we go forward in time a bit more. But a nuclear wasteland's still going to be horrible. If you've seen the road, you know it's going to be horrible, and they don't really make it horrible enough. And you weren't wondering, where do they get the food from? Where do they get all these things from? How horrible is it? And nothing's. How do these people survive in these situations? Because these people who are teenagers surviving, and that's a good idea. But then they don't actually say how they survived. They never give you any of those details. And they have a character played by the guy from Avatar, Sam Worthington, who wakes up, and you see him die in the first minute, and then he wakes up, and he's in this new future world. But it's hellish, and he wanders through it, and he's trying to work out what's going on. And so obviously he's a Terminator. It's so obvious he's a Terminator, a human's memory from the start. So instead of just establishing that early on and try to find nuances in it, they try and keep it a mystery for like 2/3 of the movie. And it just takes away all the fun of the movie, because it's like you're just going through the motions. You're making this guy who's meant to be your protagonist instead of John Connor. So you're making John Connor something else, and this guy's meant to be a protagonist, but he's not that interesting. He's nice enough, but he's not interesting. And the interesting thing about him, you keep him back till near the end, so you can explore what's interesting about the situation. And the world doesn't feel quite complete. It doesn't feel as scary as Mad Max, you know, which is what they're trying to do. They're trying to make it like Mad Max, and then we'll go bosses go in the future. But it's not Mad Max level either. It's something else. And you don't get a feeling of the world that's been really planned out. So it's this kind of weird thing, and there's all these weird sequences where massive machines can sneak up in humans and don't hear them. So the full film's a mess, and the end's even worse. The end's just around a factory again. The first two are in a factory at the end, and then the third one they didn't do that. And by then the second one, that was as far as I could possibly go with that idea. They'll do it again this one, but it's boring this time. And this is where you see that where Christian Bale, as John Connor, gets his big scar from the second one, and he gets his heart pounded in, so he needs to get a heart transplant from Sam Worthington, so he sacrificed his life to save John Connor. There's meant to be a scarier twist that was really stupid, where John Connor gets dies and he's replaced with Sam Worthington, which was a dumb twist. Oh man, the dogs have built up a dumb twist, but then now there's a bland twist, and it's like, God, this is boring. It's such a boring finale. I mean, the film was, even what I've said about the film, how kind of it doesn't do anything interesting. At least it was a fun Mad Max rip-off. It wasn't a very good one. It wasn't. Waterworld was a better Mad Max rip-off, but it was still enjoyable as a kind of B-level Mad Max rip-off with way too much money spent in it. And the end comes and it's like, what the hell am I watching? It's like, there's no direction to this series now at all. It's just like, it's a Terminator film. We want to make money. Again, the problem with this is there's no character you really care about. So you can throw these, every character's kind of vague. No one's really motivated, so all these action scenes are very unmotivated. The only character you like is Kel Reese character, played by Anton Yelchin, who's a fun character. Doesn't really resemble Michael Biehn, but he's a good character. He's the only character you're really connected to. Is that he should have been the main character, and he disappears for 2/3 of the movie. You're left with Sam Worthington, and it's like, yeah, great, we're left with him. But it's still way more enjoyable than Terminator 3 because it's not Terminator 3, which is just a lazy rip-off. This one, they'll try to do something new, but they don't have the energy to do it. McGee's a kind of mediocre director, and they're mediocre writers, and nothing gets done. It's just, and there's no ending. It's just, they just give up. It's like, here's the ending, try not to think about it and try not to feel that much emotion because there's nothing there to really give you. But I've watched it, it was enjoyable enough. I've seen it too many times and it's not very good. It's like Die Hard 2. I've seen this film way too many times for such a bad movie. I think I keep on hoping it's better than it is, and never does. I've only seen it 4 times, but it still feels like it's 3 times too many. And now with Terminator Genesis, I'm tempted to do what I did with Die Hard and say, yeah, it's shit. That's it. But this one's frustrating because it's a good director making it. It's the best director I've had since James Cameron, and they totally screw him. Who did a lot of good TV, he did Game of Thrones, he did Homicide, Sopranos. He's a really good director. He made a great film called Palookaville. And then because of his success in TV, he was brought into films, into Thor Dark World, where he was a replacement director and there was no way to make that work. But he did a decent job, but I don't think there was a way to make that film work. I think it was kind of doomed because I think they didn't quite know what they wanted. I think he did nice stuff in it, but there was a lot of stuff in there that was just out of his control, you know, because a big behemoth. And then he got this one, which was an even bigger behemoth. I heard this was in a nightmare behind the scenes. There's reports like no one involved would want to do another one, even if there was an interest in it. And the script doesn't make sense, and it's a new John Connor again, Jason Clarke this time, again trying his best. And this time they make John Connor the villain. He's been infected by the Terminator, and he's now the villain. So the character you've now followed for 3 movies, and have never had anything to do with. The only ever did interesting stuff in Terminator 2 is now the character who all your hope rely upon is now your villain. Great job for emotional attachment. Oh yeah, and they've replaced Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor actors with new younger actors who don't resemble them. And they're trying their best, but there's nothing in the script character-wise. They're meant to be twists in the characters by saying, oh, we've changed their history because of time travel so that they're new people. But you may remember, these characters very iconically, so you don't care. They're just characters called this, but they're not really those characters. They're just saying this is a Terminator film, it's not really a Terminator film, it's just a runaround called Terminator. And it's just, can you see how depressed I am thinking about it? And as a whole, the end just kind of gives up. It's almost like they've worked out this plot doesn't make any sense. Because they've changed the past so that now Sarah Connor knows about the Terminators from very early on, knows about her future, and she's now trying to change it. Now Skynet is now not a computer thing, it's a media thing that's somehow going to destroy the world anyway. They don't explain that. They fast forward in time to almost have new protagonists of Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese without the tragedy of the first film. They try to rewrite the tragedy to make it something else, and that's just stupid. And it's almost like they're trying to new release for Terminator because they can't work out how to do John Connor, and they don't want to go in the future world anymore because no one likes that. But this is the only solution I've got, but nothing really connects. So they'll rip off bits from the TV show, but not with any care they did in the TV show. Because in the TV show they've travelled forward, Sarah Connor travelled forward from the past to a present time, like they're doing this one. But they did a lot with it at the time to really expand it and make it interesting, which they don't in this one. So it's just something happened. So you feel sorry for the director who's watching this mess and who has to, in the first half, redo scenes from the first movie with an old Terminator and a new Arnold Schwarzenegger, and it's pretty sad to watch, but kind of enjoyable for how messy it is. It's sort of like in its Terminator Salvation level of it's enjoyable for how wrong this film is, how just it's gone completely haywire. It's all wrong. So yeah, I'm finding it's hard to talk about this one. It's just wrong, and it's what's wrong about it is something that should have been spotted to be wrong, like from the start. It's just everything's wrong about it. You can't recast certain characters well If you're going to recast one actor like they did in Terminator 3, it's going to look bad. It's going to be bad. Any of us series, they keep on recasting the same actors, the characters of all these characters. Now it's almost like nothing's been done. Like no character's consistent. It's just Schwarzenegger's the only character who remained, only actor who remains. And you don't give a shit. It's just there's no emotional attachment, like at all. It's just like these things are happening, and the John Connor character at this point is just a villain. And the tragedy of that, he becomes a villain, could have been again something fascinating. Like the fourth one where the guy turns into a Terminator, could have been tragic if they did it really early and did it and really explored it, but they don't, and it's just boring. And you feel sorry for Jason Clarke trying to make this work, because he's the one actor trying to make it work, and he just, no, doesn't work. And other actors just look as if they know something's wrong here. They just know this isn't working. So the whole movie just... So, yeah, I mean, basically, I conclude this video with just watch the first two, which is what you knew before you started the video. I thought I'd talk about it because Terminator's funny to watch how a series can go so wrong. This is another example of how not to run a series. Do not recast a lead character every movie. Actually have a story. Have action scenes that are actually emotionally attached to your character. And have an ending. Only Terminator 3 had an ending compared to the other sequels. The other two didn't have endings. They just gave up at a certain point, and that's the movie. And that's in Terminator 3. That's the only thing I had was the ending. So it's like it's almost like they're trying to make the Planet of the Apes sequels and all the things they did with those of the original series, where they're keeping back and forth in time. They're trying to make it look almost sane in comparison. So this is our depressing video as to how bad it's gotten. But it could be worse. It could be Die Hard 5. Nothing's as bad as that. So I hope you enjoyed this, and hope you enjoyed my slowly going mad throughout the Terminator series. It's actually enjoyable talking about it, and not just thinking, that's really weird. So it's good to talk about it. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back next week with some more videos.